Howdy, everyone. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, it's ugly. What's up? Long time no see, man. It's been a while. I haven't streamed in forever, so I've been lazy. I've been busy with work. Oh. What is up, man? What is up? I'm watching this Timcast. He's reacting to Destiny basically saying that it's perfectly fine to kill conservatives, which is kind of freaky that you have people openly calling for stuff like this without any care in the world at all.
Explain this for you. There's a big argument over what a fascist is and what it means, and there's historic debate and all this wishy-washy nonsense. Now, of course, by all means, the Nazis had an identitarian worldview based on race. The fascists, one could argue, okay, maybe he's a fascist in a particular sense. They were statists. They believed that there would be a lucrative merger of corporation and state, not formally like the communists, but the corporations would effectively serve the interests of the state out of fear of being ostracized. And that is, the state would say, we need more steel. And they'd look to a company and say, why aren't you producing more steel for our efforts? And you knew what that meant. This is what we've seen quite a bit of. Now, that in and of itself is just a general authoritarian tactic which can be utilized by any political faction. And the truth is, both communists, the highest level, and fascists have almost the exact same thing in common. They really do. Now, of course, the big difference was traditional versus progressive values. But fascists held a particular ethos. There is no truth but power. To be fair, Destiny's being overtly honest in his ideology. But this was noted by the late David Graeber, the anarchist anthropologist. I wonder if I can find this quote from him. Because he passed. And I would love to see if I can find this old quote. It's from a while ago. Yeah, unfortunately, it's much harder to find. Let me see if I can... He called it a fascistic ethos that has been adopted by the left. And this was one of the architects of Occupy Wall Street. I can't find it.
The investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is also in sharp focus on Capitol Hill right now. I mentioned, and here it is now, that's a live look on the left side of your screen, FBI Director Kash Patel testifying in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee in an annual oversight hearing that was scheduled before Kirk's killing. That is worth mentioning. Because I know in some places this is being sold, oh, he was called up to the Hill. No, this is already on the schedule. And no doubt they're going to talk about it. Kash Patel is heaping praise on federal and local enforcement for the capture of the suspected assassin.
I also want to especially thank our colleagues in Utah, the governor's office, DPS, and the sheriffs out there. State and local law enforcement partnership has been a cornerstone since I took over at the FBI, and it was no different here. These people worked through the night without sleep for days on end. They are to be commended. They are not to be attacked. We cannot do our job without the American public and credible reporting in the media, and that's why Tyler Robinson is in custody today, about to face charges.
Justice correspondent David Spunt. David.
Well, Harris, FBI Director Patel also revealed, relating to the Charlie Kirk assassination, that there were many more, in his words, than 20 participants in a group chat with the suspect, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. The Kirk subject is one of several that he's talked about today. It's an oversight hearing, as you mentioned, previously, I should say, scheduled. It's really kind of a kitchen sink with a lot of different topics, and at times...
Man, it seems like a lot of these people are just kind of... It's like business as usual. Like every video I find like this, it's like business as usual.
He deserves to be shot because he said that if his daughter got raped, she would have to go through with the pregnancy. So I don't care that he got shot. So if I said something that's if you said something deplorable like that, then yeah, someone would probably shoot you.
So first of all, the sentence "he deserved to be shot because he said" is immediately disqualifying from me taking anything you're gonna say going forward seriously. And unfortunately, this interaction is a perfect example, a perfect distillation of broad, and let me be clear about this, broad left-wing sentiment about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, what's interesting about this particular video is that this girl, the one who looks exactly how you would expect for those of you who are listening via podcast, uploaded it as a way to show that she was smarter than her father. But what actually happened is that people realized how monstrous she was, how horrible she was, and how normal her father is, which ironically makes her much closer to the shooter, who apparently had a normal family, but of course turns out was indoctrinated by leftism to the point where he decided that Charlie Kirk was such a hateful fascist that he needed to kill him because Charlie Kirk wanted to talk to people. Again, how very unfascist of you in order to do so. And this is what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about the reaction to the murder of Charlie Kirk from broad swaths of the left wing, who of course are trying to excuse it, defend it, and do everything and anything possible to justify their bloodlust, because it is very important for us to understand exactly who these people are. And while one person may have pulled the trigger, and that's 100% true, it is the broad political movement that castigates people who just want to have conversations about conservatism, like Charlie Kirk, as valid targets for assassination based on what they said. So yeah, this is what we're going to discuss. This is what we're going to talk about. And without further ado, let's get into it.
I have breaking news. We think that Charlie Kirk just got shot in the neck. Hey, ooh, yeah, ooh. Cut the music. Cut the music.
Dude, these people are seriously disturbed. Like genuinely disturbed, man. It's you know, it's one thing to like crack a joke, but celebration is a whole nother monster. It takes a very special type of evil person to be willing to openly and brazenly celebrate someone who was killed. It takes a really like sick individual. Like I have a hard time understanding how people don't see how bad this is for America. Like, this seems like a very serious issue that not a lot of people are taking seriously on the left. That your own side is celebrating the death of a man who preached nothing but peace. Like, you could try and ask these people for some sort of evidence about what it is they think Charlie Kirk was so deserving of death and an assassination for, and they won't provide you anything except for maybe one or two quotes taken out of context that don't actually mean what they think they mean. But it's not actually that they think they mean those things, it's just that they want a reason to be hateful towards people they disagree with. They want an excuse to kill people. Like, she's too much of a coward to do it herself. But, I mean, she'd be the type of person trying and convince her partner to do it.
And real talk, I am not truly celebrating that he got shot in the neck. I think
It's weird. It's a weird way to not celebrate.
in the neck. Hey, ooh, yeah, ooh. Cut the music. Cut the music. And real talk, I am not truly celebrating that he got shot in the neck. I think
It's weird. It's a very weird way to not celebrate there. It's a very bizarre way of showing how you're not celebrating, but carry on.
it's really sad for his family because I know.
So depending on how good I am at editing out the background music, which of course will trigger a copyright claim, which of course will lead to the suppression of this video, you guys may or may not understand that this woman was dancing to Celebration. So she's having a good time, enjoying herself, and she's announcing that Charlie Kirk, of course, was shot in the neck. Now, she ends up pausing it and says, cut the music, and then tries to talk to you real seriously. But you know what? In your minute-long video, when you open it with 30 seconds of celebrating the murder of somebody who you disagreed with, I don't want to hear your dumbass message about how, oh, you know what? Gun violence is bad. Which, by the way, if you're one of these people that are supposedly condemning this, but in reality you're just condemning gun violence and using this as a call for common sense gun control, I will point out that the assault weapons ban, all the different various things that people have advocated for, even Joe Biden's ban on fully semi-automatic weapons, whatever the hell that means, does not ever apply, and there's no bill that has been put forward that would apply to bolt action rifles. Again, it's not semi-automatic, it requires a manual reload of each and every cartridge, or each and every bullet. Sorry, I know the gun nuts are gonna kill me for that. And yeah, so this would not be...
No, he was right. It's cartridge. He was right. But bullet works too. I mean, we all know what we're talking about. Same way, like, I think it was Sneeko. He was like, something, hold my clips or something like that. And then Penguin Zero, Moist Critical was all like, they're mags. These are mags. It's like, dude, we all know what we're talking about. You don't have to be that like weird guy trying to correct someone else on gun terminology to show that you know more about something. It's like, we all understand what we're talking about. I mean, yeah, there's like a difference, but it's, I mean, like, if you understand what the person's talking about, who cares?
Covered. What you're doing is actually grandstanding, and of course this leads into other backwards justifications of the murder of Charlie Kirk. But it is important for you guys to understand that this is not only who these people are, it's who they feel comfortable being in public. This is the face that they put out for the world to see, which is them celebrating the murder of somebody just because they disagreed with them.
You know what's so funny is like this girl who was objectively celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, and then the way she immediately after she celebrates says, "Oh, but I'm not celebrating." It's just like, you know, this is what the left does, is they'll try and gaslight you. They'll try and like lie to your face to get you to believe something that's not true. Like they did this during COVID. They did this like with like the 6-foot mandate. They did this with masking. They did this with staying at home. Oh, it's only going to be 2 weeks. It's only going to be 2 weeks to slow the spread. Right? Like they keep gaslighting you. The vaccines work. The vaccines work. The vaccines work. They just keep saying it over and over and over again. I'm not celebrating his death. I'm not celebrating his death while they're dancing. You know, at a certain point, you have to call a spade a spade. And sometimes it's a liberal being a liar. You know, you just have to be honest. You have to be like, these people are seriously unwell. They keep lying about stuff. They continually lie, and they think they're going to continue to get away with it. Because I mean, up until now, I feel like people have been letting them get away with it, which is why they wanted Charlie Kirk dead, was because he was extremely good at dismantling terrible, bad arguments and identifying key points in those arguments that people on the left were making repeatedly. And he was showing the rest of the world how fragile the left's perspective was when it came to believing a lot of the stuff that they believed. So I think it's really good that like people are feeling a lot more empowered to speak out against the insanity that has become the left. And I just say the left in general, like, and the left will try and like debate on whether it's leftist, liberal, progressive, Democrat. These are all different. They're all different. We're not all the same. It's like you guys are all the same. You all vote the same way. You all, like, for the most part, agree on majority of things. You guys are all the same. Like, you might have infighting between you guys, but ultimately you guys are all the same. There's no difference.
Just because they think Charlie Kirk is some kind of monster, when in reality, if you believe that you should murder somebody for disagreeing with you, you are far more of a monster than who you imagine Charlie Kirk to be. Because no matter how many times you try to say words are like bullets or words are violence, in reality, bullets are bullets and violence is violence, and you are in favor of that violence.
I mean, you're not going to convince the people who think a man is the same as a woman that there is a difference between free speech and actual physical violence. Like, this is why it's almost like there is no point in having a conversation with someone on the left anymore, is because they've already established that their worldview is that no words mean anything, that you can't identify reality with words, despite the fact that words are just symbols for the actual things we're talking about. And so when you look at like how liberals act with gender and how fluid gender is, then words are just as fluid as anything else. Words are violence, right? So like trying to convince a liberal that that's not the case is a waste of your time. There's no reason to try and convince someone who says words are violence that they're wrong, because a man can be a woman, a baby can be a dinosaur. Like there's no reality that they live in that's shared with our reality, with actual reality.
And you show it to us with your exuberant celebrations of this man's murder.
The best part of this whole goddamn thing is that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will activate no one. It will impact few. It's just great.
Now,
was that a wedding ring? Did someone actually marry this cretin? It's her left hand, right? Did someone actually put a ring on this woman's finger? Imagine choosing this person. If that is a wedding ring, which it looks like one, imagine choosing this person to settle down with. Imagine being a guy and being like, yeah, I want that girl. I want to be with her the rest of my life. A woman who is openly celebrating the death of a husband and a father. Imagine being the guy picking this woman and being like, yeah, I'm going to put a ring on that finger. I want her. Oh, yeah. I mean, are the pickings that slim? are the pickings that sparse that we're like, I mean, you're not even at the bottom of the barrel anymore. You're like, you've gone straight through it. You're at like the center of the earth. What's up, Stacy? No, I can't. I don't have a keyboard. Everything is speech to text. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a crazy world we're living in. But yeah, why would you ever want to wife this up? Why would you want to wife up a person who literally why would you want to wife up a person who openly like celebrates the death of a husband and a father because he didn't share your political view? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
It will impact few. It's just great.
Now, I have to say, one of the things that I do actually genuinely love about this clip in particular is that post this woman's prediction that Charlie Kirk's death won't mean anything to anyone, because according to this low-life loser, Charlie Kirk isn't martyr material, we've seen vigils across the world, not just in the United States of America, for Charlie Kirk. South Korea, Spain, England. We've seen it again in all these different various countries because people understand what is going on. People understand that the left is out of hand, and the reaction, the public reaction to these lefties celebrating, cheering the death of Charlie Kirk has been almost unanimous among good people, among people who understand that this is absolutely unacceptable. And what it actually did show is that Charlie had far more of an impact than many people understood prior to his passing. And yes, there is something about him that does have staying power. So this worthless TikToker who will never achieve anything remotely close to what Charlie achieved in a single day of work in his life can just suck on that for the rest of her life.
I know we're all still like reeling from the news.
Whoa. What is that? My goodness. Okay, so I mean, you got the clown makeup on, so I guess this is going to be one of those videos.
But you're mispronouncing his name. It's not Charlie Kirk, it's Charlie.
So one of the things that you'll notice about these
The clown makes jokes, and the people wondered if they were supposed to find that funny.
different videos is that obviously they're disgusting. The words being used are disgusting. The people behind them are disgusting. But guess what? In addition to all of that, many of them are outward manifestations of the ugliness on their inside. And this transes person right here is a perfect example of that. Also, you're not really nailing it with the girl voice. Maybe go back and workshop that. Maybe try being a passable human being before you try to be a passable girl. And, you know, fix your life. Get your house in order. Again, you are an absolute coward in every possible way, and I'm glad your outward appearance always marks you for the disgusting person that you are on the inside, and I'm glad this is true for so many of these people.
He's gone. I saw the video before they even put out the confirmation. There was no chance that he made it through that. This wasn't the one we were hoping for, but a welcome surprise nonetheless.
So again, another person.
Man, look at these people, dude. Like, look at this, man. These people are seriously confused. They are confused. They are lost. They are unaware of what and who they are and where they are. These people are seriously like, I can see it in their eyes. They have no grasp on reality at all, which is a very scary thing when you have a lot of people in your society that don't have a grasp on reality. Like, if they don't value the system they're a part of, there's no incentive for them to maintain the system, which society is a system that requires everyone's best efforts to maintain. And if you don't have everyone's best efforts working to make the system better, to improve it, or just let alone maintain it, I mean, it's going to fall apart like anything else, like a car. It's just, you know, it's like entropy, right? It wants to achieve the lowest energy state possible, which means it's going to decay if people are not actively putting energy and effort into it to maintain it. I feel like this is a very, like, you know, it's a turning point, yes, in America, but also it's like an inflection point where it's got like a 50-50 shot of going, you know, in a positive direction and going in a negative direction.
That he made it through that. This wasn't the one we were hoping for, but a welcome surprise.
A welcome surprise. Like, you shouldn't be reacting that way. That's the wrong way to respond.
Nonetheless.
So again, another person who looks exactly how you expect them to look, and of course, this person decides to allude to the idea that this wasn't the one they were looking for, which of course is the evil orange man. And if you guys are unaware, if you guys are unfamiliar, there is an ongoing left-wing meme that is a call for another assassination attempt on the evil orange man, where they say some has got to do it. This of course has been promoted by Cenk's nephew, Taylor Lorenz, and many people on the left wing, and of course, it's getting reiterated right here because these people's bloodlust knows no bounds.
And the last thing on this today, yes, I am a better person than you for celebrating the death of a Nazi.
See, like they start with the definition, right? They start at the end point, which is they want you to be a Nazi. So that it's backwards logic. So they can go backwards and they can justify violence against you because you're this thing, right? So they'll identify you incorrectly, obviously, as this thing. So they can go then back to the starting point, which is where you're supposed to start, but for some reason they're backwards. And then you justify the violence against the evil because you've already established in history that these people are evil, right? Like we know from history that Nazis are evil. They killed millions and millions of Jews, millions of gay people, or not millions, maybe, I don't know, but definitely millions of Jews. They killed, people of color. They killed people with disabilities. It was a cleansing. It was a massive cleansing. And so everyone knows that Nazis are bad. So by labeling you as like the worst of the worst, a racist, a Nazi, a homophobe, a bigot, a transphobe, you hate women, you're all these awful, evil things. By labeling you these things, they've now justified in their minds that violence is an appropriate response to you, even if you're not any of those things. It doesn't matter to them. They hate you anyways, and they want to kill you. Right, so they're trying to find any way they possibly can to justify their killing of you and destroying your way of life, destroying your family, destroying you, destroying the things that you love and that you care about, right? And then they're going to take the moral high ground and say like that they're morally superior because they labeled you something awful. Like it is really just backwards thinking, and it doesn't make any sense at all. But again, like we're expecting people on the left now to have common sense, which is, lacking in common sense is thinking that the left has common sense. Because if they had common sense, you'd look at this and be like, no, Charlie Kirk was not a Nazi. Like he was Christian. He supported life. He like cherished life. How could someone who was pro-life be a Nazi when Nazis were clearly anti-life, when they clearly wanted people to suffer and to die? Right? How do you render those two things simultaneously and say he's a Christian nationalist, but also he's a Nazi? Because Christians support life. They're pro-life, right? They want to protect unborn children. Nazis had no problem killing babies in the womb. Nazis had no problem sterilizing women. They had no problem torturing women. They had no problem going after women. And I mean, like the experiments done on newborn twins, the experiments done on children who were Jewish or with mental disabilities, these are like, how do you say that Charlie Kirk is in the same category as these people? Like, what are you talking about? Like, and that's the issue. It's like this woman on the screen right now is not insane. Okay, she's not. She knows what she's doing. She is simply a person filled with hatred for other people. And I think it stems from like a lack of love for oneself. I think a lot of this stems from a self-hatred that gets expressed outwardly towards the world around them. I don't think this is like, I don't think that she's insane. I don't think that she's got to be locked up in a mental institution. I think she needs to be put into a prison. Like I hear Asmongold all the time say, oh, like put these people bring back the crazy house, put them in the crazy house. It's like, well, yeah, like that's nice, but like with bars and like a steel toilet without a toilet lid and, 1 hour of rec time a day. These people know what they're doing. They're not going to admit to it. They're just going to lie through their teeth at you, but they know what they are.
And actually, it's pretty weird that you're not, and simultaneously asking people to have empathy for the Nazi. Y'all good?
So look, it's one thing to be an unhealthy body weight. It is one thing to have the mark of evil, which of course is the nose ring, the septum in particular. But to aim your camera up so we can get a view on your nostrils and both your nose rings shows a level of depravity that, again, I could have muted the video and understood just by looking at you. Nose ring theory is in fact real, and these monsters just keep going on.
That's why you just don't speak. That's why you don't speak unless you're right. That's why right is right and wrong is wrong. And that's funny. But I didn't like what he said, and I didn't like his opinions, and I don't really give a shit that he's dead.
I mean, like, I didn't like his opinions, so I'm fine with him being dead. He never hurt anyone. Never called for anyone to hurt anyone. He just voices opinions that I didn't like, so I'm fine with him being dead. And the irony of her saying that, and she's got a cross behind her, and then above the cross, she has a dream catcher. I mean, you obviously could tell where her values are, what's more important, right? Like, you can obviously identify for someone what's the most important part about this person's life, what they value, what they cherish in life. And she's not someone who would cherish life. She's not someone who would cherish, freedom to express yourself. If it's a conservative, freedom to express your ideas, right? You have to really start to identify these people for what they are.
So at least this person isn't smart enough to try to backwards justify by butchering a quote of Charlie Kirk. She says straight up exactly what large swaths of the left wing think, which is, I didn't like his opinions, therefore it's good that he's dead. I didn't like that he said things I disagreed with, incapable of arguing against them, so I'm glad that somebody did it. You know, somebody's got to do it. That's the meme when it comes to Charlie Kirk. And again,
yeah, I mean, this is the quintessential left's position is if I can't get them banned, right? If I can't get them banned off of social media, if I can't go to their public event at a school and shout them down to the point where they can't be heard and silence them that way with my own voice, if I can't, get them ostracized out of society, if I can't get them to lose their job, then they turn to violence. And I feel like we've seen this quite a few times at this point.
This is the side that will constantly go on about empathy, which, by the way, Charlie Kirk described quite well as a fake, fraudulent concept, which, of course, is clipped out of context because, in reality, what he was saying is that sympathy is more important than empathy.
Instead, it is to say you're actually not in pain. So let's just, very short clip. Bill Clinton in the 1990s, it was all about empathy and sympathy. I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that it does a lot of damage, but it is very effective when it comes to politics. Sympathy I prefer more than empathy. That's a separate topic for a different time.
But this, like other things, will be used as a backwards justification from each and every one of these people in order to celebrate his murder.
Yo, they got Charlie Kirk, bro. I've never been happier.
Never believed.
I mean, dude, to live your life in this way, it's just so sad. Like, are you one day when you're older going to wake up and think back and be like, I was a piece of shit? Are you ever going to have that realization? Like, are you ever going to wake up and be like, holy fuck, like I was profusing all this, all these niceties, and I was projecting, what I thought was kindness, but in reality I was a hateful, evil person? Probably not. You're probably never going to have that realization. It's just like, dude, you can't talk to these people because they start from the position of everyone else is wrong. I'm the only one that knows best. I'm the only person who knows better than everyone else. Like, they start from the position of being a god, little g, but they start from that position of being God, and then they dictate what morality is whenever it's convenient to them, right? If it's someone on the right saying something negative about the left that they don't like, then that person's a Nazi, right? And so they're the arbiter of all morality when it comes to their position, when it comes to the worldview, right? So and that's why the left constantly infights between themselves, is because each one of them is their own individual god, and so they each struggle for power and control over the definitions of what's good and what's wrong, what's bad, right? So what's good, what's evil, and they sometimes struggle and infight because they're all powerful, all powerful beings to themselves.
Charlie Kirk, bro. I've never been happier.
Never believed the reason I'm smiling, and it has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. Nothing to do with Charlie Kirk.
Man, look at these people, man. Look at them. Just look at these people. Look at this creature, dude.
I would say pour one out for Kirky boy, but I don't waste good beer on little bitches.
Wow, you're a tough girl. We got a tough girl over here. We got a real tough one over here. Here, sir. Another beer for this tough broad over here.
I haven't posted on TikTok in a long time, but I'm gonna now because rest in peace, Bozo!
So again, I played a couple of these so you could see them for yourselves, and it is quite notable that all these different various people are talking about how they've never been happier, and I just want you guys to pause for a moment, a little bit of station identification, and think to yourself the happiest moments in your life. Think the personal achievements that you may have had, whether it's a graduation of high school, if you're a young person, you know, meeting the first girl, falling in love, getting married, having children, you know, all the normal rational things, maybe a career advancement that you would be celebrating, and realize that all of these people right here are absolutely worthless because the way that they experience happiness is through the suffering of somebody that they didn't know. It's through the suffering of somebody that has been fed to them as this evil white racist person that they never even bother to look into themselves. These are
Well, yeah, the reason they don't look into any of that is because they want to believe it, right? Like they lack any sort of direction or guidance in their morality, and so they're constantly looking for ways that they can understand the world around them, and the way they can do that is by not accepting that they are the problem, right? Because that requires personal accountability, personal responsibility. It's much easier to point the finger at other people and say, all of you are the problem. All of you need to change. All of you have issues. All of you are Nazis or this or that, right? And like, yes, the media radicalized them for sure. However, you are a person with a functioning brain, right? You are a person with the capabilities of rational thinking. To not use those abilities puts you on the same level as an animal. An animal is not rationally thinking. An animal is acting out of instinct. Like this idea that like humans always think rationally is such like a misconception. Humans are obviously extremely emotional, and there's obviously a side of the I'll just say it, there's a group of people who are more emotional than others. And there are other subsets of those groups that are more emotional than others. So when you look at a group like this, who is obviously extremely joyful over the death of someone who was a father, who was a husband, and they're celebrating his death, right? They feel actual joy, like emotional joy, when they find out that someone they didn't like was killed. That should be a very big wake-up call for people. Because if you shared any of the ideas that Charlie Kirk held, then guess what? You're on their list too.
are people who will never find happiness. These are people who are the personification of weakness, of all the different problems of terminal online nonsense. And of course, many of them have nose rings, horrible tattoos, terrible haircuts, which again is not surprising if you've been paying attention to who has all the terrible takes on the internet.com. And by the way, I will point out that a lot of these people are going viral on TikTok.com. That's not the only social media platform where they're doing the celebrations, but this is the same exact platform where all of these people were enamored with Osama bin Laden's letter. By the way, a lot of these same lefties who are celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, had they been around when, of course, bin Laden was killed, would have lectured you about the fault in your heart for celebrating the death of the person who masterminded the 9/11 terror attack. So again, make no mistake about it, broad swaths of the left are in support of terrorism, but against actually getting justice for terror attacks.
I just heard that.
Well, it's bad mainly because it's terrorism by our own people who are they're citizens, they're U.S. citizens. They're not like people from foreign nations who were like, these are people who are radicalized recently. Like a lot of these people are in their they're like millennials. They're older. They're people who have jobs. They're part of society. They vote. These are people who are radicalized recently. Like they weren't grown up in an environment taught to hate us, right? Like they mainly learned that when they went to college, right? They started to learn those things in the last like 10 plus years. So it's like not a one-to-one comparison, but you have to look at it like, you know, this is why Charlie Kirk was such an influential figure, is because he would go to college campuses where the poison was spreading, and he would try and quell the poison from spreading. He would try and slow down the rate at which these students were, you know, embracing and accepting these ideas of radicalism from the left. And I don't know if that's why they killed him. I don't know if he was effective enough to be targeted for that reason. But obviously, like, you know, it doesn't make sense from a perspective of like he was quite literally debating people and challenging people's ideas and preconceptions about the right, about the way they think. And so they went after him rather than someone who was more openly like F liberals, like Nick Fuentes or something like that. Like, or like, you know, pointing at Jews and being like bad, right? Like instead they went for the guy who was peacefully debating his ideas with people, you know? And so like if that guy is the one who's getting shot and killed for his beliefs, then anyone to the right is fair game. So, like, which is a lot of America. Okay. And that is a huge issue when you have US homegrown terrorists, you're running free. It's a dangerous time.
Someone shot Charlie Kirk? Dang it. Shucks.
This girl seems like the type to make like ooh-woo faces and send like cat memes to people. Like this seems like you know, one of those like does the eye thing on TikTok and like does the dances and like lip syncs, right? This is that type of person.
Thoughts and prayers.
So this is a new form of the nose ring. This girl actually has a chain across her nose. And of course, it is also indicative of radical leftism, of somebody that you should avoid on the streets, of...
No, man, it's the bowl, okay? It's Christian symbolism. It's the bowl from the Bible. It's the bowl that they worshipped instead of worshiping God after being in the desert for 40 days, or for 40 years, for 40 years. And, you know, they no longer wanted to worship God, and so they worshipped a golden bowl. They smelted all their gold down, built a giant effigy of a bull, and worshipped it. So there you go. They are making themselves into what they worship. They are making themselves into gods, and they are celebrating the death of an individual who praised God openly and honestly, and, you know, praised life and the miracle of life. And they killed him for it, and they're celebrating his death.
Somebody who definitely has them crazy eyes that are being accented by that nose ring. But I just wanted you guys to understand that even seemingly normal looking people, once they put on the nose ring, obviously turn crazy almost immediately. And yes, maybe I have cause and effect backwards, but in reality, don't care. It is the nose ring. Make no mistake about it. Now again, I'll link in the description of this video the compilation of all these different various people celebrating, but understand that this is also represented in broad swaths of left-wing media. Kyle Kalinske had this reaction to the announcement of his death.
Here's something that Charlie had regularly argued, and, you know, hard disagree on this one, man, but, quote, I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is
I already know where this bozo's going with this, dude. Okay. We should get rid of cars. We should get rid of knives. We should get rid of airplanes. We should get rid of... I mean, you know what we really need to get rid of is people. Because ultimately, it's people that are killing people the most. But we should also get rid of snakes. We should get rid of dogs. We should get rid of viruses and bacteria. We should get rid of anything that hurts people ever. Like it's like an... It's like, we should get rid of free speech. We should get rid of free speech because words are violence. We should not think critically about anything anymore. We should just ban everything. Make everything illegal. Just pass another law. You know, because obviously people who are criminals, they follow the law. So just pass another law.
prudent deal. It is rational. So, hey, some gun deaths every year are worth it for Second Amendment rights. It's like, well, I mean, now you're one of those people.
Now,
I guarantee you, Charlie Kirk, if he could come back and answer one question, and if it was this question, he'd say that he still agrees with that point. Because he's a man of principle. Charlie Kirk was a man of value and principle and strongly held beliefs. Like, to think that like he'd come back and change his mind after he got shot, he wouldn't. He'd hold the same position. I guarantee you. Because, like, unlike you lefties who constantly shift and move whenever it's convenient or inconvenient to hold a certain belief or opinion, right? As soon as it's, like, not trendy anymore and it's something else is trendier and you switch position, you switch to another cause, right? Like, unlike that, someone like Charlie Kirk has actual principles that he stands by and would be willing to die for. And I guarantee you, him being the American patriot that he is, I guarantee you, he would absolutely agree and stand by that position, knowing that he was going to take a bullet and die. Like, he wouldn't compromise on that position just because he was worried about getting shot. Like, I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand. I guess it is hard for people to understand when they've never had convictions so strong that they're willing to die for. When they've never had a belief system so strong that they truly hold near and dear to their heart that they would actually die for it. So I guess I'm not surprised that people on the left can't fathom the idea that he would actually agree with this position still.
This doesn't need to be explained for people with above room temperature IQs, but the idea that this has become a punchline is so stupid, and it shows us the absolute lack of ability to engage in argumentation from the left, because in the context of vehicles, we understand this 100%. Yes, a certain amount of people are going to be injured and or killed in car accidents, but as a society, we make the trade-off because of the benefits of being able to transport ourselves via motor vehicles.
Yeah, obviously. Like, this is, like, obviously you have to accept a certain amount of liability or risk in order to have freedom. Like, that comes with the territory of having freedom. So is your suggestion is because one person was shot and killed by a gun that we should have no freedom at all? Like, ever? Like, our society should be devoid of any freedom?
By the way, you could make the same argument for firearms. Sure, there are a lot of gun deaths, but we also have multiple defensive uses of firearms, multiple preventions of crimes by the use of those firearms, and that on its own could be a positive enough trade-off, not to mention the deterrent effect, not to mention other things that, again, we benefit from having the Second Amendment. And then he and his wife, Crystal Ball, decided to turn around on social media and condemn the fact that all these different various people who are posting these videos with their full name, attaching their face to their beliefs, are experiencing consequences like being fired, saying that the right wing is very hypocritical on cancel culture. Now,
this is crazy. Comparing the two situations, like one being the left getting people fired because they supported Trump from their jobs, right? So, like, getting fired because you supported Trump during a presidential election, versus the celebration of someone's death, an innocent man's death, and then, like, those people getting fired. Like, to think that's a 1-to-1 comparison is actually, like, I mean, like, I don't even want to say it's crazy. It's just so disingenuous. It's sad that people openly lie like that now.
Make no mistake about it, I am not in any way, shape, or form participating in the highlighting of anybody's jobs. I'm not retweeting it. I'm not even encouraging it. And the reason I'm not doing that is not because I don't want to be a hypocrite in the eyes of Kyle Kalinske or any of these left-wingers that are celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. It's because I think that there's a chance that you could misidentify somebody, and I don't want to participate in ruining an innocent person's life. But to be clear, the idea that I'm supposed to care or I'm supposed to consider the hypocritical implications of people getting fired for opinions that they post on social media, when that opinion is that they support somebody being murdered for the opinions that they post on social media if they don't like them, is absurd and ridiculous. Again, by their own standards, every single one of these people who got fired after sharing their opinion that assassinating people for sharing their opinion is a good thing got off easy. They got off well below the consequences that they're celebrating, and I have no sympathy at all for them whatsoever. And of course, Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball whinging about this when they were just celebrating the firing of one of those guys who was on that Surrounded episode with Mehdi Hassan, who said that he was a fascist.
It's like, you know, I don't know how many of you guys watched the Jubilee episode with Mehdi, where you see these guys who come out and just be like, yeah, I'm a fascist. Dude who got ultimately fired from his job. Good. Dude who got ultimately fired from his job. Good. Dude who got ultimately fired from his job. Good.
And then Kyle took it a step further, saying that not only is him being fired good and worthy of celebration, but it's okay to assault this person. It's okay to inflict physical harm based on his beliefs.
I mean, we need to bring back shame. We need to bring back shame. We need to bring back bullying. We need to bring back ass whoopings. We need to bring back ass whoopings. We need to bring back ass whoopings. We need to bring back when...
It's crazy, dude. Like, you can't talk to these people, man. Like, the hypocrisy is like, it's too thick to cut with any kind of knife. It's too dense to get through. It's like they're so deep in this like sphere of hypocrisy that they only see themselves. They only think of themselves. They never think about anyone else's perspective or point of view. They are just so, I mean, it really is kind of bizarre. Like, to get to this point, you have to do some like insane mental gymnastics to get to this point. And somehow they managed to get to this point. I just like, I can't
somebody crosses
it.
a bright red line society, they need to know that they crossed that bright red line society. So when this motherfucker got fired, the answer is fuck yeah.
Then you have no moral high ground at all whatsoever to demand people on the right defend those who are cheering Charlie Kirk's murder, who are getting fired as a consequence of...
No, another big issue with this is the fact that like people on the right have values and morals and they have standards, and so the people on the left, when these people who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, they don't have morals and standards and values. What ends up happening is the left starts to use the morals and values and standards of the people on the right who have those as weapons against them. They weaponize the other side's rules, right, their integrity against them, and say, well, if you support freedom of speech, you'd be supporting this and you wouldn't be trying to get people fired. It's like, come on, like you don't believe in freedom of speech because you killed a person who was adamantly for freedom of speech and you celebrated his death. So why the fuck would I listen to you? Like, hello, what make that make sense? Make that make sense to me, because otherwise, if you can't make that make sense, which they can't, then you're a liar and I want nothing to do with you. Like, I have no interest in trying to have a conversation with someone who openly lies about things when the evidence is plain and simple right in front of their face. Like, there's no reason for me to try and convince people that they're wrong when the person who I'd be trying to convince is just flat out lying to me. It's like a waste of my time. I don't have time or energy for that anymore. I'm over it. I'm over trying to convince people on the left. I'm over assuming people on the left have good intention, that they mean well, that they're sincere. Like, I just don't believe it anymore. Like, I see how these people act when an innocent man gets killed, and I know what they are now. I like, the mask is pulled off. Like, I officially have given up hope for them until they want to come and actually like apologize for what they've said and what they've done and how they've treated people on the right, for calling people on the right Nazi and bigot and homophobe and racist and, you know, misogynist and all these other awful, evil things. Until they want to apologize for all the things that they have said and done, I have no interest in trying to talk to them. Like, there's no reason, because they're just going to lie and continue to spew nonsense and hatred. Like, it's a waste of everyone's time to talk to them.
People noticing that they're employing a bunch of freaks that endorse the murder of people that they disagree with. Again, when you want those people to be assaulted, you want those people to be attacked, you want them to get fired, again, 1 month ago. And in addition to that, you guys supported and defended Luigi Mangione, and of course, jumped on board with the online trend. And it looks like, at least with the engravings on the bullets, that we have some similarities between this particular case and, of course, the Luigi Mangione case. And by the way, to everybody out there in my audience who got mad at me for condemning that murder in no uncertain terms, look at where we are right now, and I apologize for nothing. I do not back you in any way. Like I said before, violence is unacceptable. Killing an innocent person because you don't like their job or because you don't like their opinion is absolutely a non-starter for me, and I think that maybe, just maybe, you should probably think about that before you jump on board with an...
Yeah, I had this issue too. So some people I knew who were more right-leaning, they were like fine with the killing of the CEO from United Healthcare. they were like, well, like I kind of get it. And I'm like, no, like that is the issue right there. It's not like, and like as someone on the right, like I don't agree with that. Like, and I had to like, I was kind of taken aback because, I was just disappointed that they were justifying the killing of a CEO. And obviously the left was all stoked about it because, capitalism bad, capitalists are bad, healthcare companies deserve to have their employees killed and all this other stuff. And I'm like, if you have a serious issue like that, killing the person is not the way you go about it. You don't choose violence as your means to solve a problem, because violence, it just brings about more violence. It never actually stops anything. It actually makes things a lot worse. And so that's why the killing of Charlie Kirk, I think, is, for a lot of people, it's a very impactful moment. Knowing that violence is on the table for a lot of these people who share the same beliefs that the left has always shared, which is, don't talk to people, shut down communication, shut down people's ability to share their ideas. So, yeah, this is where we're at now.
Idiotic left-wing bandwagon. Now, of course, there's Cenk's nephew, the worst of the worst, a guy who has called for political violence repeatedly, and of course, somebody who has expressed absolutely no sympathy for Charlie Kirk, even though he is a public figure who does public events, and as somebody who's in the arena, there should at least be a bare minimum baseline of respect for other people, and of course, the obvious concern that if this becomes a trend, it could easily happen to you. For Mr. Empathy over here, who can't seem to see that. Now, of course, Cenk's nephew decided it would be a good time, day of the shooting, to just tweet out this little joke thing that they do, where he just states the facts, no, I hope you recover soon, once it was announced that Charlie Kirk got shot, and then, of course, he put out another tweet about how this is the whatever number of school shootings for this year, which, by the way, is a fake stat as well. Oftentimes, when you look at that, what it ends up including is a school resource officer shooting the toilet, or shooting that happens near a school that, of course, is not during school hours, and all sorts of other things in order to inflate that number, as if that is relevant at all whatsoever to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This in no way, shape, or form is what you think of when you consider a school shooting. And again, it could have happened to Kirk at any public outdoor event, but of course, Cenk's nephew has to obfuscate that, has to signal to his fans that it's okay, but not expressly condemning the violence. But even worse than that, Cenk's nephew decided to go on a PR tour. Now, there are tons of articles of him making this all about him and all about how, oh my god, wow, this could lead to something really bad. This could get out of hand if people start getting killed as a result of expressing their beliefs, as if that's not what happened to Charlie Kirk. And there's one article from Politico that I want to read you an excerpt from. I posted it on social media that perfectly distills the dehumanization of Charlie Kirk and the fact that Cenk's nephew is talking about him as if he didn't exist and his murder didn't matter. So the question is, what is the best case scenario of where we go from here as a society after Charlie Kirk's death? And what is the worst case? And he says, best case is reasonable, comprehensive gun reform in the direction of safety.
Best case, we get what we want and you get nothing. Best case scenario from an innocent man being killed, we get what we want and you get nothing. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like terrorism. That sounds like straight up terrorism. We get what we want and you get nothing. The best case, reasonable gun reform. Just call it gun control. That's what you want. It can be a litany of different marginalized populations, black or brown people, undocumented migrants, trans people, the left, broadly, liberals, my God, kill me, dude. I fear that this is the worst case scenario. People in this decentralized way seeking out vengeance, seeking out some distorted sense of justice in their own minds. Well, I think Charlie Kirk deserves justice. I think his family deserves justice. I think all the people who have been forced to be quiet because the fear of threat deserve justice. I don't think that justice should necessarily be violence. I think it's the government's responsibility to be the one to hand out justice. But what happens if the government doesn't do that, or the government fails the people, right? Then you have an obligation to refresh your government, to turn it off and turn it back on again. Like, this is the thing. It's like, you look at these people and what they say, and they're so openly brazen with the fact that they want what they want, but they want nothing for you. What's up, Dawn? Hey! Howdy do, howdy do. I know every time something like this happens and boom, we want those pew pew. Now they have teams coming for MAGA with them. I don't get it. Yeah, I mean, exactly right, right? Like they're so adamantly anti-gun, but then when someone from their side uses the gun to kill someone that they disagree with, then they're all of a sudden celebrating the death that happened with a gun. Right? Which is, it's like the hypocrisy is insane. Like the hypocrisy can't even be like, you cannot, like you can't rationalize with these people, because in their mind, right, they will always be right no matter the situation. So again, like what he was just saying in this article here was basically, you're gonna have a boiling point, all that when, so where's, or he just said it, but basically he was saying that like Hassan was saying that they want gun control is the best case scenario that comes from this. In my mind, the best case scenario, thanks Don. Yeah, I'm just hanging out. I'm streaming to Kick, Twitch, and YouTube right now. Yeah, true. Very true. No, I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, this is, I mean, you know, it's a very dangerous time for people who think differently. It's a very scary time too. Like, but this is why, like, so, I mean, like, I switched away from doing the political content because I thought everything was getting better. And I was like, okay, well, like, my voice really isn't, you know, it's not making a huge impact or anything. But now I'm back because, you know, and I feel more compelled now than ever before to talk about politics and talk about what's going on in our country, because clearly, you know, things are getting worse still. I was under the impression things were getting a little bit better, but that's clearly not the case, which it's sad. It's like, it's really disheartening, and it's sad to see that so many people were openly cheering on an innocent man's death, that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of trying to fix our country. It's like a serious, serious issue we're facing right now. But yeah. How are you been? It's crazy. The world is crazy, man. The world is seriously like so hard to understand. You know, it's so hard to imagine that this is where we're at now, and it feels like it only took 15 years to get here. Yeah, I agree. You know, I'm trying to talk things out, and I'm trying not to be too angry, but honestly, like the way that people have been acting, it gives me chills, because it opens my eyes to the fact that these people that are cheering on Charlie's death wouldn't have two qualms about me being killed. Like, they wouldn't care. You have a dog that keeps you humble? Oh, what kind of dog do you have? I have a cat. I love dogs though. I'm a big dog person, but I have a cat. Dogs are a lot of maintenance sometimes. That's why I don't have a dog yet. But in the future, I plan on getting a dog. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we gave them a lot of good faith. Like we were very good faith with these people. We were very much like, hey, we want to talk about this stuff, share your ideas, and we gave them the respect that we thought they were due and owed, because we wanted to have that conversation. We wanted to be like, hey, let's talk through our problems, let's talk through our issues, and let's try and figure this shit out. But I mean, you know, even when you do that, it's like, for some reason it just feels, you know, they try and paint you in this like light that you're this awful, evil person. They never come at it from a perspective of, let me understand why you think the way that you think. It always comes from the perspective of, you're evil, so you think this and this and this and this. Which is, it's dishonest, but like, how do you have an honest conversation with a liar? Like, you can't. You know, you can't really have an honest conversation with someone who constantly lies. It's just like, it becomes impossible. She's a mutt. Yeah. Oh, she knows what she wants to play though. Yeah, we could have figured out what is making people so stuck on quick fixes. Yeah, I think I have a lot of views about this too, because I think that social media and phones and like the quick access to information hasn't done our brains any good. Like, it's taken away our ability to problem solve using critical thinking skills, right? So, analyzing a problem until you understand the root issue, asking the question why like 5 times. Why is it this way? Why is it this way? Why is it this way? Until you get down to the root cause of the issue. And then you can start to, formulate what's going to be the best solution that influences or affects the most people. Right? But like, people don't want to do that. People want a quick, fast solution to their problems now. So when they're feeling sad, they go to McDonald's and get a burger, or they drink a soda, right? Or if they're angry because someone was shot and killed, they want to ban all guns. Or if, it's just, the desire to have like a fast solution negates the hard work required to get the best solution. So that's like, you have a headache, so they gave pills over grabbing a drink. Yeah. So take some pills. Like, don't focus on your diet. Don't exercise. Don't, instead of exercising and putting in the work for 6+ months to lose the weight, here's a pill. Here's a shot. Here's Ozempic. Right? Like, our society is so focused on finding the quickest, easiest, lowest effort answer that we miss out on all the correct answers, all the best answers. Right? And there's always like multiple ways to solve a problem. But if you always go for the fast food of answers, or for the fast food of solutions, I mean, you can't really do much. Like, you can't, like, there's just not like, there's just not a lot you can do. I was like, how do you convince people? Yeah, absolutely. And it's more than that too, right? Like, exercise, it releases endorphins in your brain, so your mood lifts. You actually feel happier. Like, the most depressed people I see are always the people who never do any physical activity. Even walking for 30 minutes a day, like, that massively improves your like overall well-being. Like, it's crazy. Like, even me, like, I notice when I stop working out, I go to like a really negative space mentally. But if I'm like actively working out every day, not even every day, but at least 4 times a week, my week is great. I have a good week. But it's like, how do you, I mean, these people, they don't want that though. They don't want to put in the work. They want to take the shortest route possible to get what they want. And so if what they want is to look better, they take Ozempic. But in my mind, you actually look worse, because now you have that like Ozempic build. You look like you've lost weight and size, but you haven't gained any muscle. You haven't toned. You just kind of look soft. Yeah, no, having a dog is great, because having a dog, it does force you to go for walks. It does force you outside of your house to go to a park. And then you meet people at the park, and then you learn to socialize better, right? Like, these are also skills that people lose from being online, is the ability to socialize, the ability to talk with one another, how to read someone's facial expressions to tell when someone's not doing well versus, is doing well. There's all these like little tiny pieces that make us, that give us like the human experience. And when you try and shortcut those things, and the internet is a shortcut to communication, right? Because communication is best had in person, face to face. So when you shortcut that, you're removing such a large portion of that like core human experience, that what you're left with is like a watered down version. And then we wonder why people have anxiety, why people have social anxiety. They can't go out to parties. They can't go to a concert because they're too nervous to be around other people, or they just don't know how to talk to people. They're anxious. They're depressed. I mean, yeah, exactly. You can't hear their tone of voice. You can't, you can't see their eyebrows and their lips move, and you can't see their body language, how they're sitting. Are they closed off? Are they opened up? Like, all this stuff is very real, and they're all different ways that we communicate. Just like if you look at any other species of animal, they all communicate with different methods and different ways. And humans, we communicate verbally, but we also use hand gestures, eye movement. Like for example, like if you're a guy and you're talking to a girl and they can't figure out social cues. Oh my gosh, yeah, man. It's crazy. It is crazy. Like they can't tell when someone's like not interested in them. And that's why I think you get a lot of guys who give off like creepy vibes nowadays, is because they can't tell from a girl if she's interested or put off by that person, like, and then the girl goes to her friends and goes, men are creepy. And it's like, well, yeah, because the guy can't read social cues because he's terminally online. All he does every day is watch porn. He never talks to women face to face. And so when he finally is confronted with that, he seems weird and socially awkward and creepy. And I feel like women are a lot better at socializing than men are. And so women much more easily pick up on that stuff. So it's very, it's just so interesting. There is autism. There is what the left is doing. Yeah. Well, it's funny, like all this stuff, right? Like it all, like a lot of this stuff does stem from, what's crazy is like, people get depressed and their first solution is to take medication for it. Yeah. Anime too. Anime separates people out from the real world. It gives people this like caricature-esque view of people and environments and like dating and the world. Like I think people get so enraptured or wrapped up in this like fantasy, like I don't know, it's like infantilization, but also like fantasizing about how things should be and what you want them to be. So you like act a certain way out in public because your favorite anime protagonist acts that way, which just gives off like really sad, cringy vibes. Oh yeah. Oh man. And then yep. The robots. I mean, dating will be massively taken over by robots that have AI in them and tell men what they want to hear from women. And it's just gonna be, they're just gonna be fuck dolls. It's just gonna be fuck dolls, and human connection will be at an all-time low. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's people are empty on the inside. They really are. They're empty on the inside, and they're trying to find meaning and purpose. But so they'll do drugs or alcohol or women or social media for attention, or and everyone's got their own holes, right? Men and women. It's just like, what do you do? Like, how do you solve it though? Like, how do you find something that's going to like get people on board on trying to actually take accountability and try and fix it? Cause like for me, going to the gym is such like a mood booster. I feel like you have to start really like low level, like get people out of the house. Like, I know it's like a meme, but like go touch grass, go to a park. I don't know, bring like a notepad and paper and write your thoughts down or something. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I went on a hike with my girlfriend, and we just sat down. We sat down next to this little creek, and there was like these tiny little fish like swimming around, and we just sat there for like, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour just watching them. We take a dried out leaf that was on the ground next to us, and we'd throw it into the river, and we'd just watch it flow down the stream. And once it got out of sight, we'd grab another one and we'd throw it in the river, and we'd just watch it like a little boat. I mean, like, yeah, get the minerals, get the fresh air, get some sun. Sun also, like sun actually improves your health. Like, we're meant, as humans, we evolved to be outside. We're meant to be outside. Like, we're not meant to be under fluorescent lighting all day, every day. Yeah, it was really calming. It was very peaceful. It was like being in nature it's something I think people do not, it's not that they don't appreciate it. I think that they don't think it's as important as it actually is. Like they undervalue it. They undervalue being in nature. They're like, oh yeah, I like being in nature. Like it's really nice. It's fun. I like it. But they undervalue the effects that it brings your life. Same way that a lot of Americans undervalue exercise too. Like they've undervalue going for a walk for 30 minutes every single day. Like they don't think that that 30 minutes is going to do very much for them. Yeah, I know. It's just like, how do you convince people? how do you get people to like understand this stuff? Because like, it's one thing to know what the issue is. It's another thing to be able to figure out how to solve it. You know, like, do we just turn off the internet for like 3 months out of the year for everyone? We just say no internet for anyone for 3 months in America every year. We just turn off all the satellites, turn off all the, I don't know, you can have your phone so you can still call people, but oh, fresh bread, like sourdough, like fresh made homemade sourdough. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this past weekend I made a really good pot roast. So it was like $9 or $12. I got like 2 onions, a bag of potatoes, and like this like chuck roast. It was like a good looking from Walmart. It was like a chuck roast. And I just put it in the slow cooker, and oh my gosh, I put thyme, I think rosemary, maybe oregano, and some other stuff, but like the house smelled so good. Like we walked outside for a little bit. My girlfriend and I, we walked outside for a little bit. We came back inside, and it just smelled like one of those like quintessential, I don't know, farmhouse meals of like, oh, I can't wait to dig into this later, you know? Oh, it was so good. And it was cheap too. And I'm like, and it was healthy. Like it was healthy. I put like I put fresh garlic in there. So I minced up some fresh garlic. We have like a little herb garden on our bay leaves. Yes. Thank you. Bay leaves. We have a little herb garden in our backyard that my girlfriend tends to. And, so we had fresh thyme from the garden. We had fresh, oregano. No, not oregano. Some other herbs too from the garden. But oh my gosh, it was so good. And you can like you can taste the difference too in fresh herbs. You can taste the difference when it comes to like the food you're eating. And now like, oh, hello, there she is. There's my little gardener. That's my little gardener. She's visiting. I'm telling Don Brady about the pot roast I made over the weekend with like all the herbs, the onions, and how it's just like, oh, it's so good. So good. Yeah, we have there's another garden we have, although it hasn't produced too many veggies. It's got like watermelons and pumpkins and some zucchini, some cucumbers, although I think the cucumber died. I think the cucumber plant died. Some tomatoes. Yeah, it's good. But just like the constant like being inside, not going outside, not eating healthy, right? Like all this stuff. Like humans are not made to be like this. Are you working right now? You must be working right now. Hello. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's lag. Yeah. But yeah, just, you know, Don Brady and I, we were talking about, oh, there she is. Come here. You want to come on camera? You can just, this way you're not delayed. You can say hi to Tom Brady.
Hi.
Yeah, we were talking. Talking about society and how it's collapsing because people don't go outside. No, you're fine. It's just me. It's been me most of the time, just talking to myself. I do. No, you can dip out. Don Brady left, I think. She'll be back later. No, you're fine. Hi. What do you want for lunch? You don't want Chipotle? They're open now. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Love you too. All right. I'm going to keep watching this.
That sounds insane. I don't think that's going to happen. But the worst case is what I'm seeing on Twitter. More and more of Twitter is becoming real life, where people are getting increasingly more belligerent and increasingly more angry. There's eventually going to have to be a boiling point, right? There has to be a point where all the anger and frustration mounts, and in the absence of any sort of pressure valve to release said anger, I think people will look for different targets that they have designed as the reason why they feel the way they do. It can be a litany of different marginalized populations, black, which is capitalized, by the way, notice that right there, and brown people, undocumented migrants, trans people, the left broadly, liberals broadly. I fear that this is the worst case scenario, people in this decentralized way seeking out vengeance, seeking out some distorted sense of justice in their own minds. So that's a real excerpt from a Politico article. That is a real statement from Cenk's nephew about post Charlie Kirk and the problems that we could see. He's worried about unhinged people that blame certain media figures because of their beliefs for the problems in their own life, seeking out their own form of vengeance and or justice based on the idea that that person is responsible for the way that they feel about themselves. That is the thing.
I don't know. I'm more concerned about the fact that like these media figures have openly labeled people with terms that make them viable targets for violence. Like that's my concern, is that like because you've labeled so many people as racist or Nazi or fascist or whatever, that you've like basically given over the reins to these psychopaths who will take those labels and think that some sort of like defensive measure needs to be taken because these people in history have done awful, horrendous things. If you call me a Nazi, like I'm someone who donates to charity, like I go to church, I love people, like I forgive people, I care about people. Like, does that make Nazis good people? Because I feel like I'm like relatively decent. I'm not by any means perfect, but I try my best. And it's like I try to have conversations with people. I try and keep open dialogue with people, even people, especially people I disagree with. But now at this point, like if you've labeled me this and now you're justifying violence against me, then what's the incentive for me to try and keep those avenues of communication open? It just doesn't make any sense from my perspective.
That this guy actually said to Politico, and again, he's worried about that after Charlie Kirk. He described the exact thing, the exact kind of person that is gassed up by his exact kind of direct calls for violence and political rhetoric that again encourages violence. He's worried about that happening to the left, like as if Charlie Kirk didn't exist, as if he wasn't a person, as if time started after the bullet hit Charlie Kirk, and we're not supposed to analyze, looking backwards, at all the different various people who radicalized.
No, she actually came over into my office and said hi. So if you rewind the stream a little bit, I don't know if you can on YouTube actually when it's still playing. I have no idea, but she came in and she said hi. She wanted to say hi to you in person because there was a lag, so she wanted to take a break from work and come and say hi.
this left-wing shooter, who, by the way, they tried to smear the right wing with. So these people celebrated the murder of Charlie Kirk unambiguously, broad swaths of the left, not a tiny minority, not a little bit of a representation of the left, and then they blamed you for it. Then they said it was your fault. They said you did it, and they wanted to use it as an excuse to crack down on your speech. Just think about how asinine and ridiculous this is. These people said words are violence. Charlie Kirk is a fascist. The Nation wrote out that Charlie Kirk is like...
It's okay. No, you're good. No, you're good. I mean, we live together, so she'll be back sometime if you're ever in my stream again. Which I actually was going to say, I do plan on streaming more often. Like, I do plan on streaming. I'm going to try and stream, like, maybe start out with 2 times a week. But this whole Charlie Kirk situation has gotten me, like, fired up in terms of, like, knowing that we need more people speaking their minds and being honest and you know, like, yeah, it is rough out there. I see how rough it is out there, and I'm grateful to not have to be out there. Yeah, it's you know, it's, I don't even know, man. It's such a disturbing time for everyone. Like, the dating market seems really bad just from like an outside perspective, and I'm not even in it. Yeah, keep an eye on me. I'll be making videos too, though. I'm gonna try and not like overdo the number of videos I make, but also like there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about and a lot of stuff I've been feeling like I want to talk about. And I plan on making videos too. I got a sailboat, so I'm gonna take the sailboat to a lake. I got these like lapel mics, so like these Wi-Fi mics, and here, I can show you. I plan on taking them out on the sailboat. They're just like wireless mics, and I plan on taking them out on the sailboat and doing like a longer video of me sailing and talking about stuff, maybe like philosophy or talking about politics and talking about the modern world. So like any ideas you have, any ideas you've got, send them my way. Let me know anything that's interesting to you, because you've been supporting me since like the very beginning. So I want to make sure that, you know, you don't think I forget about you. I want to make sure if there is something that you're interested in, I'll throw my hat in the ring. But yeah, I want to do it on a sailboat. I'm going to do it while sailing. I'm going to do like it'll be like a longer video, like an hour and 30 minutes or so. And I think it'll be a cool like environment. Yeah, conversations on the water. Yeah, like one thing I always wanted to do was get someone to like, I wanted to start like a podcast in the future, like way out in the future, like 5 years from now, of like, I was going to call it like Sailing Thoughts, and it was going to be a podcast, but on the water sailing while talking about stuff. Cause at least it gives like the person watching the video something to like kind of look at. And it's also really peaceful. It's nice out on the water too. So, just an idea. I don't know. I have to find someone to interview. I have to find someone to go on the boat to interview who's comfortable being on a tiny little sailboat in pretty high wind weather. So, which I'm comfortable with, but not everyone is. What earthquake? I didn't even know there was an earthquake. In Utah? Interesting. East of Salt Lake City. Charlie Kirk's assassin has been charged. What? Page not found. The content you requested cannot be found? Kidding me, right?
It's a preliminary hearing system. So the arrest and filing of the criminal information are merely the first steps in the criminal justice process. Today at 3 p.m., the defendant will appear before a judge in the Utah 4th District Court for his first appearance to be informed of these charges and to ensure that he has an attorney to represent him. The hearing will be brief. The judge will conduct that first appearance virtually via WebEx. This is not unusual. In the 4th District, all felony first appearances for defendants who are in custody are held virtually. A link to that hearing is available for media on the Utah State Courts X account at Utah State Courts. Now, following defendant's first appearance, he will be entitled to a preliminary hearing. At that hearing, the state will be required to show probable cause that defendant committed the crimes. The purpose of the preliminary hearing is not to determine guilt, but simply to assure the court that the prosecution has enough evidence to proceed to trial. If a judge finds probable cause and binds the case over for trial, an arraignment hearing will be held. At that hearing,
yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if they're doing it by the book so explicitly, or like I don't know. Like, a lot of this stuff seems very I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I've got mixed feelings about this, and I don't want to get sucked into the whole conspiracy theory thing, but it's hard not to imagine that someone's putting up money to try and get stuff like this done for some sort of reason. Like, I'm trying not to like just buy into conspiracies, but also it's only a conspiracy until it's proven true. You know, like I don't know. I'm like, I want to keep an open mind, you know? Like I don't want to jump to the conclusion of anything really. So I'm like, I want to watch the trial. Like, if I'm hoping the trial is televised, but I doubt it will be. I'd be surprised if it is, but I hope it is. I really, really hope that it is, because people need to see what this person is like. That people need to see, because right now, as far as I could tell, I couldn't find any video of this guy. I couldn't find any video of Tyler Robinson anywhere. I was trying to find video of him talking. I was trying to find video of him like if he had a TikTok or social media, but apparently like everything he was talking about with his friends was on Discord. Discord deleted his account. I assume they had pulled down all of his messages and everything first before doing that. At least I hope for Discord's sake they did. But man. Dude, yeah, oh my gosh. The SSRIs, man, they're treated like they're a cure-all. They're treated like they could just like cure anyone from anything. I'm like, you know what you need? You need to stop eating like fatty foods with so much oil and preservatives and chemicals in them, and you need to go for a walk. Like, if you're depressed or if you're like anxiety ridden, go outside. Go be normal. Oh man, yeah, it's weird. It is weird how much they have tried to hide things about this guy.
with the resources needed to successfully prosecute this case. I will now take a few questions.
For questions, ladies and gentlemen, just really fast, if you could identify yourself and what organization. Yes, thank you.
Okay. They are still looking into it. It's an undergoing investigation.
So is that a possibility?
They haven't ruled that out.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, psychology, like the therapy movement, which is like everyone needs to be in therapy so that therapists, because I mean, therapy is just like any other business, right? They need patients. Patients are what brings them money. And if they can get you put on some sort of medication, oh, we're going to put you on this drug and this SSRI, and we're going to put you on anxiety medication and this and that. Like, they get kickbacks from that. They get kickbacks from putting you on medication. There's a financial incentive for people who work in the medical field to put you on some sort of medication. And the longer you're on that medication, the better. That's more money for the pharmaceutical companies. But they pay the therapists or the people who are prescribing the medication so that they make more money. Like, it's wild. And like, there's so many young people on so many different types of medications. I forget what the percent is. What percent of young adults are on SSRIs? Let's see. 8% of adults between 18 and 39. Another study said 11.4% of adults 18 and older. From 2016 to 2022 indicated a 66.3% increase in monthly antidepressant dispensing for U.S. adolescents and young adults, which is 12 to 25. This is the number I was looking for. Like, this is crazy. More than 67% of antidepressant prescriptions dispensed during this period were selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or the SSRIs. But it's a 66.3% increase in monthly antidepressant dispensing for U.S. adolescents and young adults. 12 years old to 25 years old. Oh, yeah, I bet some kids share them. I bet. I would not be surprised. Probably because their parents say, oh, I don't want my kids being put on some drugs when their brain is still developing. And then the kid goes to school and asks their friend, who they know is on an SSRI, and then they give them the SSRI. And it's like, dude, like, or the school, I don't know. I mean, $12 to 25-year-olds. What if I say, what percent of 12 to 25-year-olds are on SSRIs? Around 4.5% of U.S. adolescents and young adults. Okay. Well, that's a lot better than what I was expecting. I was expecting like 15%. Like, I don't know. I was expecting something way higher. Antidepressant dispensing to adolescents and young adults was rising before the COVID-19 outbreak and rose 63.5% faster afterwards. Like, this is getting worse. This is a problem that's still going on right now. Like, this is an increasing issue. This is not an issue that's going to be decreasing. Like, this is July 2025. As of 2022, 4.5% of U.S. adolescents and young adults between 12 and 25 had received a prescription for antidepressant medication. That's crazy. Wow, the monthly rate increased about 130% faster among 12 to 17-year-old girls and about 57% faster among young women between the ages of 18 and probably, I'm guessing, like 25 or something. It's gotta be higher. I mean, like, it increased after COVID in 2022. It increased by 67%, which, if that's anything to go off of, like, this is like the how many people identify as like LGBTQ over like per generation. Where's the graph? Come on, it's like doubling. It's like, yeah, it doubles like every single generation, right? So Gen Z, about 1 in 5 of Gen Z identify as LGBTQ. You cut that in half, you're at about 11% of millennials. Then again, like less than half, you have, right? Like, look at this graph of the people identifying as LGBTQ. This is not a normal graph, dude. This is not normal behavior for a species that survives off of heterosexuality. This is not a normal representation. I think a lot of people just buy into like because it's trendy and it's hip and it's cool and it gives you like this shield of no one can criticize you. I 100% agree. I do think it's peer pressure. I think it's like trendy and it's hip and it's cool, but for people who are so easily swayed, like, this is where I get into the realm of, I don't think kids should be on social media. I don't think kids should have unlimited, unfettered access to any social media or to the internet at all. Like, I do not think kids should have a smartphone until they're 18. Like, I genuinely do not see how there's any benefit. Like, the risks far outweigh the rewards for having a social media. Like, kids were able to, like, it prevents kids from going outside and playing with their friends. It prevents socializing with kids because now they do all their socializing online in online forums. Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, like, how do you? But if you look at it, like, per year, the blue is about the same across the board. The purple is about the same across the board. The green is about the same across the board. Yellow went up over the last, what, like, we'll just say 10 years. It's been increasing. It was around 6% for millennials, and then it went up to 11.2%. Red, the gap is even bigger. Yeah, I mean, you have to explore the world. You have to explore the world with your hands. You have to eat dirt, man. You got to, like, scrape your knee. You got to, like, fall out of a tree and break a bone. You got to, like, I don't know. You got to, you need to experience the world hands-on when you're young because it gives you a much better understanding of it when you're older. I feel like a lot of these people who are saying these things and preaching these, like, messages of, like, the left, they genuinely did not experience the world. Like, their experience is limited to online experience, right? Their experience of the world has been filtered through an algorithm. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, like, it did. I do feel like most of this really popped off around 2008. I genuinely think that's when race started becoming an issue again. Oh, everything was racist. It was this, it was that. It was, he was like Barack Obama was also stating things like, women get paid 70 cents to the dollar that a man earns, which is not true. That's not an accurate statistic. That's not an accurate way of representing the information is by saying something like that. And that got so many women all up in arms, and so many women believed it without doing any research at all, that they just believed it, what he said. And then they run over and say, I'm an intersectional feminist now, and I want equal pay for equal work. And it's like, well, girl, you have that. Yeah, I mean, it's the statistics don't lie, and like something like this where 1/5, well, we're gonna assume that 1/5 of our population is actually LGBTQ. We're gonna think that that's accurate. Those numbers aren't inflated. Like between like 1 and 3% of the population being gay or trans or whatever, okay, fine, like that's believable. But 10%, even 1 in 10, like nature's that's something that would have been bred out of nature a long time ago. Because if you're born gay, that means it's genetic, right? The assumption that we're currently working with is that you're born gay, at least from the left's perspective. So here's a logical fallacy that the left loves to push out, right? They love to say that you're born gay. Well, if you're born gay, then why are we seeing an increase in the percentage of people per generation that are gay? Because if gay people are gay, then they're not producing children themselves, which means they're not passing on whatever genetic anomaly they have to make their children gay, because then the children would have a higher likelihood of being gay. That's how genes work, right? And so this idea that like it's genetic doesn't make sense when you look at a graph like this that shows that shows the percentage of people per generation that are identifying a certain way is increasing. Like, that's such a logical fallacy that you're just like, if you are born gay, then it's genetic, right? If you're born gay, it's genetic, because that means you have no control over it. So like, if that's the assumption we want to work with, is that it's just something innate in you, fine, I'll work with that definition. It still doesn't make sense though. Like you cannot like I don't know, you can't rationalize those two things together. Yeah, and then they take their kids to pride parades. It's like, it's obviously like, I don't think it's genetic. I think there's a mix. I think it's a very complicated system. And I think it's influenced by a lot of different things, genetics maybe being one of them, but I don't think genetics is like the sole dictator on who you are attracted to sexually. So if you're born gay or lesbian, why won't they make it known following that means men would want men's parts and women would want that? They don't. Yeah, no, exactly. Like the idea does, it's just like, it's like a self-defeating argument. Yeah, they can't define what a woman is because if they did, they would be transphobic, right? So they, and this is the issue, is like they run circles inside their own head. It's all just circular logic. And if you break the circle, everything else collapses beneath it. And so like, I'm trying to figure out, how do you break the circle that's in these people's minds? Like this running thing. I'm like, this graph alone clearly indicates that something is wrong. No species could have an increasing number of entities within it that more often identify as gay per generation. Like if homosexuality is a genetic thing, it's not exactly like homosexuals are reproducing. So how are they passing their genes on? I could expect every so often an anomaly to happen, right? Like someone who was supposed to have brown eyes is born with blue eyes for whatever reason. Like maybe you're carrying a recessive gene and like someone else is carrying a recessive gene. But like, you're not going to see this massive jump. Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. I think it's social media is a key contributor to the fact that so many people are identifying as LGBT. And I think it's meds and because it's trendy. I think mainly social media. I think social media is the key contributing factor to why so many people think that they're gay. And I say think because like, you do think that you're gay, just like people who think they're a woman when they're a man think that they're a woman. They think that. And like, do you try and change their mind? Do you try and reinforce it? Do you try and have an honest conversation about it and be like, okay, well, like, you can do whatever you want because you're not hurting, as long as you're not hurting anyone or hurting children, who cares what you do? So can we have an honest conversation that this graph is not normal? It's very interesting. Like, that's over. Yeah, could be the hormones in meat. Could be the hormones that are being put into fast food. A lot of parents give their kids fast food. A lot of parents don't know how to tell their kids no. We've seen like a trend of gentle parenting, which is more like, I want to be your friend. Like a lot of parents think they want to be their children's friend, which you shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't want to be your kid's friend. You should try and be there for your child, but you're there for your child in the capacity of being a parent, not a friend. They have friends to be friends with. Yeah, I mean, yeah, try the other, yeah, right? Like, think about it. Like, analyze why you're attracted to who you're attracted to. Like, analyze it. Try and think critically. Yeah, you have a lot of people who are just, I don't know, man. Like, the world is just, it's like all over the place.
Like the modern day Goebbels, that's an actual comparison that they made in order to back end justify his murder. They're digging up all these different various portions of a quote in order to defame the guy, including that he was against the Civil Rights Act, which was posted by one of these other lefty streamers / YouTubers.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy when Kirk says that MLK
says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe? What does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week.
Oh yeah, they've got like the left just wants to like this is why I say I think the left is very confused and they're lost is because they look for meaning inside of a label, right? And so when a label doesn't fit exactly who they think they are as a person, they create a new label. And then other people who feel close to that join that label. And then someone else joins the label. And the labels, they're always changing and there's always new labels because as people, we constantly change. And so there is no box you can put yourself in that you'll last in for your whole life. Like that's unrealistic expectations to put on yourself or on anyone else, is to think that someone's going to be the same for their whole life until they die. Like that's a really unhealthy expectation of people to have. They put different things on people that had no place. Yeah. I mean, then they label everyone else, right? Like the left is constantly finding new labels for people, and they're constantly trying to put people into these boxes that identify these people by certain moral qualities, right? So like, if you're gay, you're good. If you're a Nazi, you're bad, right? Like gay, good, Nazi, bad. Everyone who disagrees with gay is a Nazi. Everyone who disagrees with Nazi is good, right? Like it's like this weird, I don't know. It's so twisted, man. It's so twisted. It doesn't make any sense.
We talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
Now, of course, that on its own shouldn't justify a murder, an assassination, but turns out when you actually ask Charlie Kirk, what did you mean by that? He gives you a very rational explanation that tells you that he's not against the fighting against racism aspects of the Civil Rights Act. He's against the mission creep, how this 60s law ends up being reinterpreted and reimplied in order to cover things that it was never intended to do it. That's why he says it's a mistake, or parts of it were a mistake, as he does when you actually ask him.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why they do it is because ultimately deep down they lack, like, I genuinely think a lot of this stuff from the left, why they do all this stuff, is because they do not love themselves. And so that hatred towards themselves it's directed outwards. It's directed outwards to people. So I don't know. I mean, and it manifests in the way of calling someone who's not a Nazi, you call them a Nazi. Like that's how it, in my mind, it kind of like presents itself. The left took the idea of civil rights. Now we have people with cat boxes for 25-year-olds. Yeah, dude. Or you have like these adult babies who wear diapers. Like they're like infants and they love to be like swaddled and they suck on binkies and like, or pacifiers or whatever. And like they're like, they wear diapers not because they have incontinence, but because they like the feel of them. They like acting like they're a baby. Like mental illness is running rampant in America, and I think the internet has a large part to play in it. Maybe they realize they cut off their parents when they would have learned a thing or two. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, it's like every generation has rebelled, you know, like every generation rebels against their parents to some degree. But you have to understand, like, rebelling is fine, but it, like, you have to think logically. Like, like just because you want to rebel and listen to rock music when your parents want you to listen to jazz or something, right? Like, if you want to listen to like the new hip rock music that all the kids are listening to, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, but you also should be able to logically appreciate that jazz music is still good. Like, it's the roots of your rock music that you love, right? So like, I think the issue with today's society is that a lot of kids have been taught to hate their parents and taught to disrespect their parents. And I think that it's like schools have taught kids to hate their country. Schools have taught kids to hate white people and all this other stuff, right? And so I think it's like, and social media is like a megaphone for that. It amplifies all this. Yeah, it's just, yeah, man, people, man.
To clarify,
you said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, so the parts of the Civil Rights Act were great, but the way it's now being implemented to force men in female bathrooms to push forward of the trans agenda, the intent of the Civil Rights Act is way beyond what it was originally authored for.
But the intent specifically originally was to
Well, that's interesting. So the intent and the law are two different things. So the intent was noble, which was to say that no American can be not allowed into a place of business based on the color of their skin or their ethnic heritage. Totally agreement with that. That's not what the law only did. It created a
Yeah, the left, I mean, there's so much, there's violence all over the place, man. I just like, I wish there was like an easy solution to all this stuff, you know? I mean, like, but how do you, like, I don't see how there could be. I don't see how there could be. I do feel like the solution to this is going to be a civil war. Like, I feel like that's the solution that people are going to choose. Because if the left wants nothing to do with someone who wants civil debate, i.e. Charlie Kirk, and this issue continually gets worse and worse and worse, then the solution that people, the society that we live in, the solution they're going to choose, it will be violence. It will be a civil war.
massive anti-racist DEI army that then gave us affirmative action. For example, recently Merrick Garland sued using the Civil Rights Act, saying that we cannot have voter ID in certain states because it's a violation of the Civil Rights Act. So basically what the Civil Rights Act did is that it went beyond disparate impact and then went to disparate effect. In the sense where if black Americans are not doing as well as white Americans in a certain category, you can now use the Civil Rights Act and say that's a violation of the Civil Rights Act, even though there might be other contributing factors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's too broad, too wide, and it's now doing a lot of damage to the country. It's being used well beyond its original intent.
But to see Jenk's nephews, dopey, sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about, you know, like, I saw recently that a lot of people are starting or applying to start new chapters of Turning Point USA, which is Charlie Kirk's, like, his company or whatever. So I've been like debating internally. I've been thinking to myself about maybe trying to start something like that. I don't know if I'd be able to upload videos to my channel or if I'd have to upload them to, you know, their channel. I also don't know if there's like specific ideas that you have to have in order to be a part of Turning Point USA. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see. If I'd be able to do something like that, because I think that'd be really interesting. It would make for good content on my channel where I could actually go to the college campuses and have discussions with people. But yeah, we're just in a really important time right now where more now than ever it's important to talk to one another and try and avoid violence at all, like best we can. We're gonna try. But I mean, like, if they keep killing people on the right, like, something has to be done at a certain point. Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, and I have a full-time job too, so it's also like, it's hard to, I don't even know if I would have time for it either. Like, this is nice because I can stream from home and I can, you know, I can do it on my own schedule. There's not like specific times I have to do it. So, but it's just been an idea I've been playing with. I think it would be fun. It would also be good because it would challenge my beliefs too. You know, like, it would be good to be challenged in what I believe in and not just like challenge the other side, but have my own preconceptions and, you know, my own ideas challenged. I think that's good too.
puppy dog face in all these different various articles, talk about how he's the real victim, as if he wasn't the one calling for this violence, as if he wasn't the one begging his audience to take action, as if he didn't know that his audience is full of freaks and monsters that endorse each and every one of these attacks on the right or against their perceived political enemies, is absurd. Again, this guy recently said that Ela Klein, and this was for no reason because she hasn't been in the IDF in 20 years, was a valid military target in order to signal his audience, who was already...
Yeah, that's why I want to do the sailing videos. That's like, sailing for me is the best way I can decompress. Like, that's my, like, I'm at peace. I'm in my element. Like, being out there on the water sailing is genuinely, like, that's my, like, Zen space, you know?
harassing Ethan and Ela, already sending them death threats, that he was still on board with it. This absolute coward in every possible way is disgusting, and again, he's trying to make the death of Charlie Kirk all about him. He's quite literally in other articles debating the ghost of Charlie Kirk in order to get clicks and to plug his Twitch channel. Now look, I said it before and I'll say it again, acting out in any kind of violent way, acting out in any kind of crazy way is the thing that will dishonor the memory of Charlie Kirk. But the idea that I'm going to be lectured by Jenk's nephew, this absolute weasel, this absolute coward, on morality is absurd. This guy is still encouraging violence. He's still...
Yeah, I mean, like, Hassan Piker, he openly supports terrorism. Like, he openly supports terrorism. He said some awful things about 9/11, and like, dude, like, why anyone listens to him is beyond me. I have no idea why anyone would ever listen to Hassan Piker. All right, like, that's just bizarre to me. Like, it's the same as taking like political advice from iDubbbz. Like, why are you listening to this person? Like, what? Like, that's so bizarre. yeah, I agree. Yeah, take his Porsche, take his Gucci bag, take away his Gucci bag and his Porsche.
Justifying the murder of Charlie Kirk, even if for one instance he said, I condemn political violence in general, as if we don't understand the trick that he's doing right there. As if we don't get what he's saying, where he's like, I condemn these tactics overall, like, overall I'm against it. I mean, there's a specific thing that happened that I'm specifically avoiding talking.
Good, yeah. You will get nothing from watching him. I have tried to listen to his like show when he streams on Twitch, and there's nothing of value there. There's like maybe one or two funny moments, but the rest of it is just him sitting there, getting up and getting a soda and walking away from the camera, and like, you know, he just repeats the same insults over and over and over again. That's his whole way of argumentation, is insulting the person. He doesn't actually like have a point. He just argues that you're a bad person. That's his argumentation style, is you're an evil person, so I don't need to address what you said. It's so stupid. Yeah, I feel like Republicans in general, or people on the right, are past the point of caring what like these like Destiny, Hassan, what these people say, because what they say are like Vosh. Like, these people they are so obviously ill-intentioned and so obviously evil that it's like, at this point, if you're still supporting these people, like, it brings into question your character. You know, like, I'll watch it for content's sake so I can make a video about it, but I'm definitely not watching it because it's something that I think I'm going to get value out of in terms of what they're saying, other than the fact that I can make fun of it. You know,
about when I say I condemn this, but you know, I'm gonna lecture you on morality, and I'm gonna lecture you on how politics should be, and of course I'm gonna smear Charlie Kirk and proclaim that I'm better than him, even though we all know he would have humiliated Jenk's nephew in a debate, as he's done in previous debates. In fact, my first video on Jenk's nephew, which by the way was my second video ever on the Young Turks on this channel, was about Charlie Kirk destroying Jenk's nephew and him proving what an absolute idiot he is. And this was when he was at the Young Turks, before his Twitch channel and all of that. So yeah, he's been
to the point I can get things done around that crap. They get that right. Yeah.
nursing that wound for a very long time. He's been nursing the wounds of defeat at the hands of Charlie Kirk repeatedly in other debates for a very long time, and now he's taking his opportunity after he's dead to still lose to the ghost of Charlie Kirk. Charlie can't even talk back, and we still know that Cenk's nephew is losing the conversation because that's what a total loser he actually is. And of course, he's playing victim, claiming that Elon Musk is trying to get him deplatformed. By the way, he's complaining on X, which is owned by Elon Musk, a platform that he has not been banned off of. But, you know, it's all about him. It's all about him being the victim. And of course, the right wing, so bad, so horrible, so terrible.
Yeah, I mean, like, what exactly did Hassan do that was so great? Just be Cenk's nephew. Like, he's a nepo baby, and he's admitted to that before. Like, and he'll say, "Oh no, I was joking when I said that. Like, I'm not actually. Like, I worked hard for what I've got." It's like, oh man. Yeah, you know, Hassan is like 40 something, isn't he? He still acts like, I don't know, man. He acts so like he's like some cool young hip kid. It's so cringy, dude. It's so cringy to see him, who's like a grown adult, act like he's still like a young college kid. And he's got like gray and silver in his hair and in his beard. The man's bones are starting to creak and ache. You know, I got a little bit of that coming on too, but I'm not even 30 yet, dude. I'm 29. I'm young. But even I know I wouldn't ever act like that. I'm not going to act like a fool like that. Just like, bro, I can't, man. Sometimes I think the internet does influence people a little bit too much. You have to like intentionally go into using the internet with the idea of like, I'm not going to let this influence me. Like, I'm not going to. Because if you don't, you end up like Hassan, where everyone else's ideas are your ideas and you just regurgitate the same things your uncle said. So it's just like, okay. Yeah, there is no manual except for other people telling you that you're acting goofy. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, or like like if you mess up, which we all do, own it, apologize, and grow from it. Like, change, and like correct yourself. But like, you also have to be willing to like acknowledge that just because someone tells you that you're wrong, that you might not actually be wrong. When everyone is shouting at you and telling you that you're an evil person, sometimes you have to, I think this is where having conviction is really important, especially following in like God's word or believing in some sort of higher power that is your source of morality and what is good and what is evil. And I think, a lot of people on the left don't abide by that sort of way of thinking. They think that whatever is good is what they think is good. And so morality is constantly shifting on the left on what is good, what is bad, things like that. Like it's always been like that throughout time. So, I think having a good foundation of your core moral beliefs is critical for you to know how to behave, right? Because it's like, follow God's doctrine, right? Or follow, the doctrine of Allah, if that's what you believe in, and I think that like, yeah, otherwise you yourself become the God and you start to be able to dictate what morality is good and what morality is bad. Which if morality is that flexible, then morality doesn't mean anything. We might as well just act like animals and do whatever satisfies our own selfish desires and treat people however we want. Because I mean, that's kind of where we're at now with the left. The left is treating people on the right however they want, because in their mind, morality is flexible enough that they could just dictate that someone is a Nazi and label them that without repercussion. There's been no repercussion for people on the left calling people on the right Nazi. Like, there's no repercussion for that. And that's like, to me, that's evil. To call someone something like that when they're not, to me, that's evil. Yeah. I hope we can figure this stuff out. Anyways, I'm going to go get food. I'm going to go get a burrito. I'm hungry. I haven't had lunch yet today, so But I'm glad that you stopped by because this was a lot more fun having you here than just me sitting here ranting at the screen by myself, which I'm also like, I enjoyed doing that too. But like, it's nice to have someone to chill and hang out with and you know, talk about this stuff with, because it makes me feel less crazy too. But I appreciate it. I'm gonna hop off. Yeah, I'm hungry. I can feel like the pit in my stomach. I'm gonna go get a burrito. I'm excited. I'm really excited. But thank you so much for stopping by. I do really appreciate it. I'll try and stream more. I need to start like scheduling the streams, I think, on my YouTube so that people know when I'll be going live. You look so alone. Hey, I'm fine. I'm fine. No, I appreciate it. So thank you. All right. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Farewell. Ciao. Goodbye.